that right there. A play that changed their draft pick status. All the Texans had to do was lose, but they won. Great game by the players, beating the Colts. Lovie Smith goes out with a win, but he goes out nonetheless because after a 3-13-1 record, he is officially fired after one season as the Texans head coach. Joy, did Lovie Smith deserve to be fired?
Who you crapping? God, I enjoyed that.
Get it, Joy. Do it.
No, but I don't know that he did anything to keep the job either. Generally, if you go 3-13-1, you should expect to have some hard conversations at the end of the year. That said, and I've been on this all season long with the Texans, because we saw this with the Lions last year, and now you saw how the Lions season ended this year. You can be bad, but we can see something there. We can see how the players are playing. We can see how you push back on teams. Are you in close games? The Texans were giving people problems all season long. They weren't good enough. But that's not Lovie Smith's fault. So what I'm confused about is if you're going to move on from Lovie Smith, who has a ton of experience in the NFL, including experience at the head coaching position, how is the GM still here? What are we doing with that? Because in the time that Nick Caserio's been there, he's hired 2 coaches and will be looking for his 3rd this offseason. Now, perhaps that's not all Nick Caserio's thought, because the Texans are a dumpster fire of an organization and have been dysfunctional for years, which we know because they hire coach after coach after coach. They had a disastrous situation with Deshaun Watson, and now they're 3-13-1 again. So why should anyone in the organization get the benefit of the doubt, even if you're going to move on from Lovie Smith, which I would not do, because the Houston Texans have no culture. And for the first time in a while, I thought at least, hey, players, they don't have great players there. They don't have a quarterback. They play inspired football. Do with that whatever you will. There are bad teams that don't play hard because they know they don't have enough. But at least Lovie was doing that. That's the argument they used for Dan Campbell last year when the Lions were terrible, but they kept him. So what are you building here? Because you're on your 3rd coach in 3 years, and for some reason, Nick Caserio is still going to be there. So what's going to be the excuse next year? The Houston Texans have no foundation. They have no culture. They're going to get a quarterback, but not with the first pick. And then they're going to do what? Because he was the one responsible for this tear down. Well, you tore it all down, and you didn't put anything back together. So I'm confused as to what the direction of the team is to begin with.
Yeah, Lovie had to go. He had to go.
Why?
Because if you are drafting Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, one of these young quarterbacks, you want Lovie to be the man that Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud is under the tutelage of as an offensive mind? Lovie's a defensive mind. Now, did Lovie deserve to be fired? I don't think he was going to win there anyway in Houston. But I'm like, when I think about the coaches right now, those top-flight coaches, Andy Reid, Mike Tomlin, Sean McVay, Doug Peterson, Kyle Shanahan, I don't think of Lovie Smith as the guy that I want to have Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud or whoever I'm drafting, because I better draft one of them, develop under. 3-13-1. In theory, you could mask behind that record. I believe Dan Campbell was 3-14 or
3-13-1.
Or 3-13-1. And so I believe like Dan Campbell didn't show me all that much his rookie year either as a coach. But I'm not looking at Lovie Shady and saying, yeah, you know what? I want to build my franchise around Lovie. Where do you stand?
I'm with you. Pack your bags. It's time to roll, right? Dave Culley, the coach before him, they fired. I thought he was the guy for the job, right? I thought they should give him some more time. Coming from Andy Reid's tree, letting him put his players that he wanted, getting the organization ready to go, I think that would be a better fit. But Lovie Smith, I mean, he's hell of a career. He was a good coach. Times have changed. Yeah. It's a new era. Look at all the new coaches. First of all, the NFL is a copycat league. Like, whatever this team did to win, every team in the NFL, they want to copycat that, right? The new coaching hires. They're going younger, right? McDaniel, McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Zach.
Nick Sirianni,
yeah,
Zach Taylor, all of them.
So my thing is, get somebody younger than that can relate to the players. That's the new thing now, right? Getting younger coaches that can relate to the players, understand them. They need some fire in Houston. Like the last couple of years since Deshaun Watson left, they went to playoffs 3 years ago, 3-4 years ago.
Yeah,
it's been bad down there. So yeah, get a young coach in there, get that thing fired up again, man.
If that's how y'all feel, and if that's how the Texans felt, I hope they at least did Lovie Smith the favor or the honor of saying
him.
You're a fall guy. Like, at least tell me, like, you're the fall guy for us maneuvering for good draft positioning. Because, like, on the field, I don't know how you couldn't be happy with the job that Lovie Smith did. I'm talking between the lines. We knew going into the season that they were going to be a joke. Like, they traded Deshaun Watson away. This roster was terrible. They picked top 5 last year. This was a case. This isn't the Broncos or the Colts where we were like, why are they so bad? We knew exactly how bad the Texans were.
And they were.
July. Okay, yes.
They were. Three games.
No.
It's hard to lose more than 3 games.
Look at the context, my guy. They didn't even finish with the worst point differential in the league. They lost their games by an average of 10 points. What? No.
Because it doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
No, it don't matter.
It
Coming
does
from
matter.
this side of the desk, I'm telling you this. At the end of the game, me and Shady are like, hey, big dog, we only lost by 2.
Yeah. We did good, though.
We almost won.
Next time we'll get it.
You don't think it matters for the culture of your team to be like, we might be bad, but we're not rolling over for anybody.
No.
We're going to give you 4 quarters.
think
we're going to kick your ass.
Win
We're
and
trying
lose
to
it.
anyway.
We don't think,
We just don't think like that. I understand how that matters on television and on paper, but we're not like, man, we almost
It
won.
literally mattered for the Lions last year.
It didn't matter in the players' minds.
But the players don't make the decisions to hire or fire coaches.
Not
From
only
an
that-
organizational perspective, how you are losing if you put together a bad roster, which Lovie Smith did not do, and didn't have a quarterback, which Lovie Smith was not responsible for getting, then how are you how are you justifying that? To Dave's point, this wasn't Lovie Smith's responsibility. He didn't buy the groceries here.
Right. No.
You're mad at
Turned it
this
into
meal
a pretty
that
decent meal,
was
though.
edible, and
Yeah.
you gave him a 4-week-old.
But nobody, in this day and age, nobody cares about that.
No, I'm not saying they should care, but you're asking me if he should have been fired and what their plan is. Maybe he should have been fired because they didn't have a good enough season, which is fine. It's what was expected. And maybe you want to move in a different direction.
That's right.
What I'm saying is the Houston Texans don't get an ounce, not a little baby drop of the benefit of the doubt that they're now all of a sudden going to turn this around and have some well-run organization and do the right thing.
I don't agree with that.
Really?
Look at the Jaguars. They drafted the quarterback that they wanted, right? They had a good coach to come in there. They went from being bad and trash, and we can't wait to play the Jaguars, to now they win their division.
Yeah, but I didn't give the Jags benefit of the doubt either. They had to earn it.
True.
And they did.
I got to go.
Gotta get a coach.
I'm just curious. Okay. Yeah. Shoot. Jags.
Jags.
Jaguars.
The name stat he didn't talk about in them the last 3 games, he led the league in picks all 3 of them games. Pick.
Win.
Pick. Listen, I'm not hating on Dak Prescott. I have no hate against the Cowboys, right? At my time playing Cowboys, I did pretty well. Listen, all I'm saying is this. When you play against guys, they should have won yesterday. I mean, you play against Washington.
Of course.
And then we talked about a production meeting like, oh, well, the game really didn't mean much, which it really did. Because if the Eagles lost and y'all won, you get the first seed. But anyway, you gotta like try to be that bad. Like if I'm playing the game, right, and we're not playing for much, I'm not gonna like miss like a whole bunch of holes. I'm not gonna fumble the ball like 2 or 3 times. You gotta try to be that bad. Going to the playoffs, you wanna be playing your best ball, right? Your winning ball, efficient ball. Turnovers is like out of it. Dak Prescott, they got the Bucks, they got who's in the playoffs? The Bucks, Niners,
Giants.
Eagles, Giants, and 49ers. All them teams I just talked about, when they win the turnover battle, they're like 27-0. So going to the playoffs, you can't do that. You think the Texans and come back and win a game. You can't do that against the Eagles backup quarterback and win a game. It's playoff time now.
Not arguing.
And if they don't take care of, if Dak don't take care of that ball, we're going to be back at this desk.
Oh, God.
Me looking at you, right? Just looking, not speaking, just looking. And I'm going to say this. I told you so. I told you so.
Jory, where are you at? Dave's side, Shady's side, Dak's play, is it a problem?
You know what it is? I do think it's a problem. I've felt like it's been a problem for a long time. But they've won games despite it.
8-3 while Dak is doing this.
And for some reason, Cowboys fans don't seem to be that worried about it.
Texans.
Oh, I can you come hop in my Twitter?
Joy.
Everyone's telling me
Joy, they
anything
don't care.
I say about
They
the
don't care about the
Cowboys,
picks.
I'm crazy if I say that they're capable of winning a Super Bowl. I'm crazy
they
if I
are
say that
panicked
Dak's
right now.
playing bad. I mean, whatever. At the end of the day, here's what it is. You're not going to win playing like that in the postseason.
No.
You're not going to win playing like you were playing and winning in the postseason.
Nope.
So even if this game, obviously they had already clinched, there was some stuff to play for. Obviously you could have, if the Eagles lost, which they weren't going to do. There was still stuff to play for.
Right.
But you can't, whether you're playing well all those numbers that you mentioned, if you play like that or you play like you played against Washington, in the postseason against those teams, it's not going to matter. We can say whatever we want about these fake turnovers that Dak has or how much it doesn't matter. We have so much more evidence that if you lose the turnover battle in big games, you will lose. There's so much more evidence, like decades of watching football. What do coaches always tell you before every game?
Check the ball.
Take care of the ball.
Check
It's
that
like the
ball.
most simple, fundamental thing about football.
Of any level.
Wait, Dave's biting.
Yes.
You're biting.